¿Qué tal? Mi nombre es Carlos Joy Moises. Estamos de regreso con el señor Alant. Now, before we went to the cut, we were talking about Night Quest, Nightfall, Nights, and Nights told us. Now, I'm going to be true. I thought the idea was interesting. It went on so long.
Do you want to know why it went on for so long?
Please tell me.
The story was actually scheduled to finish several months before it did finish. But then somebody in the marketing department realised that if we could add another 10 or 12 issues,
Right.
it would bring us up to Batman 500. And so if Batman became the Broken Bat in the historic 500th issue of his own title, that would make it something special. So that was actually marketing's idea. It wasn't the idea of the writers or the artists or even the editors. And I hate stuff that is marketing led, where the marketing is more important than...
That's so sad because the story is more important. Now, I understand that, like, for you guys, it's better because more people will buy a 500 issue or a 400 issue, an anniversary issue gets more people to buy it. But still, the story is what's essential. The story is what's important.
I agree entirely. The story is the only thing for me that matters. And if you can get marketing out of the story, that's great. But the marketing department should never ever come to editorial and say, oh look, extend this story by 10 months and we'll have a huge seller. I mean, they were right, it was a huge seller. 4.5 million copies, I think, Batman 500. So, Doug Mensch built himself a home cinema out of the royalties on it.
Well, I totally get that, but still, I mean, for me, when I was very young, it was all about the characters.
Exactly.
Later, it was all about the artist. But much later in my life, I said it's all about the writer. Because you can have a bad character and bad artist. But if the writing is horrible, forget about it. I mean, I've read some comics that the art didn't like so much, but James Robinson, when he was doing Starman, I didn't like Tony Harris's art at first.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the story was so great.
Yep.
You know, the same thing with Alan Moore. Anything he writes, beautiful. You know, or Grant Morrison, and of course you. But I mean, thankfully you were Norm, so it was beautiful all around. And it was Batman, so it was great.
Yeah, I was very lucky that Denny teamed up me and Norm. It was an inspired pairing, I think, because Norm and I were on the same wavelength right from the beginning. And I think it showed through in the story.
You can tell. Now, something, I don't know if we have that much time. I don't want to, people to kill me because, the Dark Knight is over here and he looks mad. So, I just want to end this like on a good note. To you, what is your favorite story? Now, I'm talking like Judge Dredd or Batman or anything you've written. What to you is the story that you say, this is the one I'm most proud of?
Well, I have a different favorite story for each of the characters that I write.
Please let us know.
And my favorite Batman story that I have written, I've actually got 3. One of them was an issue of Detective Comics called Trash.
Okay.
Because it turned into a tragedy. The child who was involved in the story died at the end of it. And I like sad stories. Even though I like to put humour in stories, I like sad stories. Shadow of the Bat issue 13, I think it was called The Nobody, which was about a drunken bum. That Batman, in a normal Batman story, he wouldn't have been within 100 yards of him. But the way that I played it, it made this guy, even though he was a drunken bum who meant nothing at all, he was a nobody, it made him into somebody whose story actually mattered. Everybody's story mattered. My favourite Judge Dredd story was a story which you've maybe never even seen, called Democracy. John Wagner and I did a story called Democracy, where there was a democracy movement and it started up in Mega City 1. And of course, Judge Dredd encased them all in riot foam and shot the ringleaders and put the rest of them in jail. As you would,
Also very Dredd. Right?
His comment at the end of the story is, democracy is not for the people.
Did you get to see the Dredd 3D movie?
Yeah, I did.
I thought it was very good.
I thought it was excellent. I thought it was much better than the Sylvester Stallone version.
And I thought they really understood the character very well.
Exactly, yeah, but unlike the Stallone version, the new version, they actually employed John Wagner, Judge Dredd's creator, as a consultant on the story, and he kept them straight all the way through. So
magnificent. Now, you've seen your fans here in Mexico. Did you feel the love? Because there is love here. And of course there's hate towards me because I'm holding up the line. But how do you feel about your Mexican fans?
I think Mexican fans are possibly the best in the world. I would put them right up there with the Argentinians, because previously the Argentinians have been kindest to me. I've done a lot of conventions in Buenos Aires, and I'm sure that the Mexicans would probably wouldn't agree, but I think there are many similarities between them and the Argentinian. They love the story. It's the story that matters. The writing comes second, the artwork comes second, the characters come second, as long as the story all meshes together. That's my belief. That's what I love about comics, you know, when the story comes together.
Mr. Grant, it's been great to talk to you. Muchísimas gracias a todos, muchas gracias al señor Alan Grant. Un aplauso para el señor Alan Grant, por favor. Espero que les haya gustado esta entrevista. Mi nombre es Carlos Moises para artes9.com y Comic Manía. Estamos viendo.